Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. Ladies and gentlemen.
Just gargled with some very strong coffee.
Oh my God.
With some oat milk in it. Delicious.
This oat milk, this is all you go on about. Is it that good?
Well, I love milk. I'll sit down to a pint of milk.
I know.
Full fat milk.
I know. I've seen you drink
love
the milk.
Love it. But oat milk, it's not trying to be milk. You know what I mean?
It's its own thing.
Yeah, I don't like. It's like me. I don't like a fake burger. I don't like a veggie burger.
No, I don't like that either. Yeah,
I like a bean burger.
Lovely.
A bean burger's not ashamed of itself.
Exactly.
It's its own thing.
But
oat milk's like that.
Before you go into the inner depths of oat milk, can you let
Very
me fucking
cleansing
finish?
for the bowels as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Focus. I try and be fucking professional. Oh, I interrupted myself. Welcome to another episode of Folk in Scotland. You may continue.
I think we're too big to have to welcome people now.
Do you think so? I like to do it. I like it to be a warm welcome. I want to hug them.
No, I think we're beyond that. I think we need to get somebody like a door person.
Oh, we need to get someone to announce our show.
Yes.
Yes.
You
know what? I like that.
Cannon and Ball, are they still with us?
Kind of half dead.
Half dead. He'll do. Remember, people don't know, there used to be, it still exists, it's gone downhill a little bit, but there's an Indian restaurant in Dundee called the Jahangir.
Yes.
And it was famously good back in the day. The Jahangir buffet was
spectacular.
Was a spectacular buffet. They had a doorman, and the doorman was a guy called Alec, who was in his 70s. He may well still be alive, but he dressed like King is it Gunga Din? He had the big...
That's right, yeah.
He had the great big hat, the gear, and he'd welcome you in and open the door for you, which I suppose would now be called cultural appropriation.
It would
but
be.
It was an Indian-run Indian
was his
restaurant.
Uniform. Yeah.
Yeah, it was his uniform. But he had his head kicked in by a couple of arseholes many years ago.
Oh, God.
And all the Indian guys who ran the restaurants in Dundee put a bounty together, put cash in from their pocket.
Oh, my goodness.
And put a reward out to catch the people that had done this to Alec. But Alec was a life model. He looked like the Crow Man from Wurzel Gummidge.
Gotcha.
A very scrawny old geezer, but he was a life model.
Oh.
And he only stopped life modelling when he got a colostomy bag fitted.
Why would that stop you?
I know. That'd be an interesting thing to draw. Just adds a little
pencil work.
Bit of shade, bit of cross-hatch in there.
Exactly. Well, the last thing I saw the Jahangir was...
I know you
the fat, naked Dundee guy swimming in their koi pond.
Koi's a bit... I think it was
a goldfish tank.
It was a goldfish and a couple of tadpoles. Well, he added his tadpole to the thing.
He was right in it. I thought he was going to get fucking kicked in for that.
Oh, that was grotesque. That was in the... Was that not... That was in the first lockdown, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the guy just gets naked and jumps in it.
The place was dead and he just gets naked for a bet. But nobody was betting him to get naked.
No, it was just it's just nonsense. And then you could see, I bet there was a chef and a couple of other guys behind him holding like cleavers, and he's going, I'm really sorry, I didn't know what I was thinking, I'm really sorry. Yeah, he was shitting himself. They got the police on him and everything. It was disgusting.
Well, Dundee's still in the grip of this murder, this guy that's killed two people.
Fucking terrible, man.
It's fucking monstrous.
Terrible. Absolutely awful.
As we've been saying all along, a lot of people going about at night time now.
Since
no
the first
business
lockdown,
going about.
Since the
There's
first
been
lockdown,
weird people have crawled out.
Mm-hmm.
There's weird people. That horrible thing that that happened down in London. That's just there's less people going about. It just shows you it's people. A lot of people makes you safe.
Yes, it does.
Everybody's going, I'm not looking forward to seeing loads of people again. You're safer the more people are around.
Of course you are. I mean, my experience. I went out once to Tesco's and two weird guys, when they're doing you got a light, mate, and they're getting closer and closer, but they're sideward glancing. And I was like, oh, fuck. And
you have the look of a little springbok as well.
This is
a lion just licking its big liney chops.
But you see, another thing I've noticed, and a lot of people listening will probably notice, you won't be as aware of this because you're not a driver. But Saturday drivers, weekend drivers, is a thing where people only use their car at the weekends, and it's like chaos on the roads, right? This is the people that are on the roads at night. People driving. I'm watching people going through red lights and cutting lanes, and it's just mad. And it's not like boy racers being silly. It's just middle-aged people just being mad.
You get those older drivers who they think they're really safe drivers, but they'll drive at 40 miles an hour all the time.
Yeah.
They drive the same speed, regardless.
And this is something that I'm seeing only at night. It's really strange. It's like Mad Max out there. And this is only because of the lockdown, because they're feeling more confident to go out at night because there's not as many cars on the road.
There's nowhere to go.
And it's just
nowhere.
Very
Where are you
strange.
going after 10 o'clock at night?
There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do.
I think the toddler deaf school's still open. I think it's been open throughout, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
There's still the battling babies.
Battling babies. What a TV show! What a TV show that would be.
Imagine their wee cute little pugil sticks.
And then one bursts into tears, and everyone goes, "Oh!"
A little toddler with like a Rambo style headband on.
Oh, wonderful!
And two bits of the black camouflage makeup
under their
on their
eyes.
cheeks.
Fighting
can you
to the
imagine?
death. That's what's missing from TV. It's got too soft. Jesus.
Battling babies. It has got soft. Well, that show's still on. I saw it this morning. It was being advertised. The Dancing on Ice.
Oh right.
So that continues.
They've still got to give their sacrifices to Moloch.
Well, I noticed on the ice there's two grooves being cut, and there's like there's a drain where the blood
grooves,
must go.
Just like in
and you can
what's it called? Blade. When all the blood pours down and
you can
turns
see
into
little
a hemorrhoid.
Lorraine Kelly's under there, and she just
pours over her
she's
head.
Lapping at a cat with cream. Can you imagine?
Oh yeah. Don't need to imagine. I've seen it.
Jesus.
Well,
sometimes if you watch her on the telly, you see she's not wiped her mouth properly, and there's like kind of old geezers get that white froth at the corners of their mouth.
Yeah.
Lorraine Kelly, blood.
Oh Jesus.
Blood. And it's between her teeth. Bits of liver.
Oh yeah, she just doesn't finish it all. She's just too ravenous.
It's a sunny day. I was out in my garden yesterday, cutting bushes.
Oh God,
doing a bit of topiary. It's a wonderful.
I hate
it's
gardening.
A wonderful thing.
I hate it.
Oh,
I hate it. I hate it.
I know what it. You'd love gardening.
What?
I know why you hate gardening.
Why?
It's just that because you've convinced yourself gardening's for old people. You think you're in the first flush of youth.
Gardening is for old people. Of course it is.
You are old.
I'm not old. I'm only 17.
Yeah. Remember when you're like 17 and you go, God, imagine going out for meals. Imagine
so many things.
Digging tatties. Kid, it's so boring. These things are the best things in life.
I used to go up the beach and just sleep on the sand, get up in the morning, go surfing.
Your skin's never recovered.
I couldn't do that. I know it's not, but I couldn't do that now. Oh God, I'd be knackered. I
remember we were in Ireland on holiday, and my brother had a big verruca in his foot, and we're on the beach. I think it was in Donegal or something.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure. But the coarse Irish sand, the verruca just peeled off, and he left it on the beach. We're still that's a fond family memory.
I done something like that, similar.
Mm-hmm.
I like my power kites, and I've got a big.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What's a power kite?
A power kite is a big kite. It drags you along. It lifts you off the ground. I've got my flexifoil here. I love it. Great fun. Keeps you fit.
Power kite.
Right, really big. I like a smaller one because I like the speed of it. So I've got. If anyone's listening and know about kites, what is mine's a 4.2? Is it a 4.2?
The only thing is that's lovely for you.
Blade.
And you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
But everyone else on the beach looking at you thinks, what a prick.
Absolutely. But there's usually, where I was flying, there's lots of people flying and stuff.
Safety in numbers.
See? That's it.
See a group of kiters, do you call yourself a flock?
That would be ideal. I think it's just a bunch of pricks.
I bet you call yourself a squadron.
A squadron? Oh, God. I don't think you think of it as flying because you're on the ground. It will lift you up.
Because your house is called the Eyrie, isn't it? Or is it Eagle's Nest?
Oh, Eagle's Nest. That would be good. The Eagle's Nest.
No, that's where Hitler was, wasn't it?
Oh, right. I don't want to be the Eagle's Nest anymore.
The Eagle's
I don't
Nest.
want to be that. It sounded cool for a second. I like
It's more like
Eagles.
it's more like the poop deck, isn't it?
Oh, speaking of
It's a
which,
nautical term.
I
Yeah.
have altered people's lives this week because our podcast, our last one, talked about the poop stool.
Oh,
And
Jesus
everyone's like, they just can't believe it. It's changing their lives. They've tried
Christ.
it.
Are people doing it?
They've tried it and they're raising their knees
Oh,
while
Jesus, I
shitting.
don't want to know that.
Listen, I went to the toilet this morning. The whole experience must have lasted less than 3 seconds. Done. Out.
Because Andrew got you to record a number of your passings
Oh God!
and
poor
send it to him.
Andrew.
It was for research, wasn't it? That's what he said.
If anyone's listening and they don't know your absolute vendetta against Andrew, it's because Andrew suggested a film for us to review, Runaway, and you were so angered after watching it. You've had this vendetta, and you and your vendettas, man.
It'll never
Oh
end.
my
It'll never.
God!
A poop stool. Could it? I was going to say, would a couple? You don't get yellow pages anymore, do you?
You don't, but actually, even an inch. If you start raising your knees, and if you're older, it might not be easy, but as far as you can, and you're in a more squatting position,
That's why your knee fell off the other week.
Not exactly, but
Your knee was it was something to do with that.
Listen, these are just small side effects of using a poop stool, but I've actually got a knee brace on now. It's still a bit wonky. I still
Jesus
feel it's
Christ,
going to
Mad
pop
Max.
any second.
Mad Maxine. I remember. Have I told you when I went to see Jim Morrison's grave in Paris?
You did.
And the shitter was just a hole in the ground and 2 wobbly bricks.
Did you use it?
No. I went for a pish.
Yeah.
But the French pishers, man.
I know.
I'm very pro-European.
Yeah.
But the French pishers.
Well, the thing is, I'm at the age now where there's a lot of shaking involved, and I don't want people watching me doing that. It could
Bobbling
look very...
about.
Oh, yeah.
Bobbling about. It's those little pissers, kind of ones that are just on the street and you can just look over.
Yeah, I'm not keen on that.
Not good. Not particularly good. Not particularly good. Toilets, I do like a strong workman's flush, kind of good proper flush. You feel the benefit of it. You want that away from you.
Yeah, go on. I was, I think I've told you this story. I was waiting on a bus to London, and in Dundee, have you ever taken a shit in a bus when it's moving? No, I've never even been in the toilet. I've never ever been in a toilet on a bus, and I was waiting for the bus. Now in Dundee bus station, the toilet's closed like at 5 o'clock, even though it's open till late, and there's no toilet. So I'm like, I'm bursting for a piss, right? So I go down the street next to it, in a little quiet lane, and as I start pissing, a police car pulls up. Oh, fuck. And the guy jumps out and he goes, I won't tell anyone if you don't. And he starts pissing as well. So it was a really awkward... He wasn't like shoulder to shoulder. He was about 20 feet away, but we were both peeing. Oh, it was very awkward.
People do say they need to defund the police.
Yeah.
I was once down in London, and I was on the Underground with my mates, and I'd had a few beers. Mm-hmm. And I was absolutely busting for a pish. When you genuinely are get pissed yourself.
Yeah, it's just going to go.
Unbelievable. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting pissed myself. And I was holding on to the rail. Luckily, there was just us on the carriage. So I was like pole dancing. I was like faming it up and down the cabin, trying to stop myself from pissing myself. Oh, it was painful. The trains finally stopped, and I took a slash. I just took a slash on the platform.
You have to sometimes.
And I felt bad about it, but right, there was cameras and everything. Yeah. I didn't.
You just
care.
got to go because you'd be.
Now, would the police take that into consideration?
No,
they wouldn't, would they?
No,
if you said, "Look, I'm getting piss myself,"
they'll say, "Piss yourself. Don't piss on the street." They would tell you to do it. Yeah,
there's a guy I know I went to art school with, and he because they've closed all the public toilets. There's no real public toilets anymore. They just didn't know what to pay guys, Dan, the lavatory man, to look after the lavies. And he took a pee up a lane, and the police caught him, and he got done for indecent exposure.
Indecent exposure, it's ridiculous.
They did him for indecent exposure. And then it gets really sad. He wanted to be an art teacher, and he couldn't.
See,
it fucking ruined his life.
There's things like that are a bit excessive. I saw there's people on this. It was an American kid, and he was on the sex offenders register because exactly the same thing. He had a pee within a certain distance of a school.
Oh,
and they got him, and he's like, it's ridiculous. But speaking of the underground, now,
I love the London Underground.
See, I don't. I got a fear in me.
American Werewolf in London.
Well, I'll tell you a story.
That scene.
The King's Cross, was it King's Cross fire? That stuck in my head for years, and it kind of, I didn't like it. I didn't like it, and I still don't. I'll avoid it even going now. But
it's the best way to get about, man.
It is. Best way. It really is. But you go down, and it's always busy. There's always people, and I remember American Werewolf in London where there's one guy walks down, there's no one else about, and I thought that never happens. And it was actually in my mind when I go down to get, I can't even remember what station it was, no clue. And I go down and there's not a fucking soul there. And it's like, sometimes it feels like you're walking miles to get to the platform.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's no one there. And I swear to you, it was the same set they used on American Werewolf.
Yeah, that bit where you go down,
and you hear the trains away in the distance, you can feel the heat building and, and all this sort of thing. And I had it... And I went, what? And I looked and I walked up a bit and I walked back a bit and there was no one there. There was no doors. There was nothing. And it was like that. And I thought, you know what? As a grown man, I must have been 28, something like that. I was like, fuck this shit. I was ready to bolt back up the stairs and then the train just came and I got on it and I was looking and nothing. Absolutely crapping my pants. And that was because American Werewolf.
You get that heat that comes out the tunnel.
It comes towards you, yeah.
It's a wave of human skin. There's the fluffers have to go along with the brushes and sweep it all up.
Although I don't like it, I had to get on it quite a bit. And I got to the point, I got the London attitude when, someone had thrown themselves on the line and you're like, it's going to be delayed. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. And then after a while, you're like, for fuck's sake,
nobody chats, nobody's making eye contact.
No, none of that.
Hey, I was on the London Underground one time, and I got a seat, and I thought it's happened to me a couple of times. I've just seen the seat and went for it, and I looked, and there was a guy, this kind of Rastafarian dude. Quite dirty guy, homeless looking guy, and he had a giant thermos flask, giant one, tartan thermos flask.
Oh, wonderful!
And he had a Knickerbocker Glory spoon, and he was hooking about in it, and in the flask was oxtail soup, homemade, right? So he was taking out this bit of oxtail, sucking the bone off it and then spitting it at the ceiling, and it was ricocheting and landing, and nobody, I was just looking at him. I was fascinated. Nobody was looking at, everybody was sweating because you got the feeling this guy was slightly crazed. But then another time, the Clockwork Orange in Glasgow, which is just a Mickey Mouse wee thing. You've been on that.
It feels more like a fairground ride.
Yeah, it's a tiny little thing. It's hilarious. And got a seat, busy carriage, sat down, and then I looked to my left, old lady, fine, looked to my right, a guy with the thickest, like, comedy glasses, kind of like thick jam job. One of those caps, like a kind of pilot's helmet kind of thing, came with the ear flaps, manky as fuck, and he had a welder's glove in one hand, in his other hand, which was kind of spasming a little bit. And I looked at manky, dirty, filthy looking hand. He had no fingernails.
Whoa!
All the fingernails had come off.
Oh
and
my
I was
God.
like, oh, for fuck's sake, who's this character? Yeah, but there's people, obviously, they'll go down into the underground and just spend the day there, just circling about. They'll keep you warm. It'll have saved people's lives. There's ones in Russia which are just unbelievable, magnificent kind of structures.
Glorious things. The New York
anything
subway,
underground
it's
cool
so
as fuck.
hot.
Is it boiling?
So
I can imagine.
I mean,
the smell of people. Humanity has a very distinct smell.
I mean, I went. It was one of the biggest snowstorms in years in New York.
Right.
And it's cold in a way you can't imagine. And then you head down into the subway, and you're pulling your jacket open, the sweat, it's the weirdest thing, you know. And
Barbie.
yeah, it's so hot. I was roasting in it. And in summer, it's
fuck
terrible.
The tang of people. But London, when you're out and about in London is so hot. It's just the fumes and the people and just everything. It's quite overpowering. At least Dundee, we've got some elbow room here.
Now, you'll know this.
Even before the lockdown.
This is true, but you'll know this. In London, there's a tree that when it seeds, it attacks you and it stings you all over. And it's all over the streets. Now, anyone in London, what is this fucking tree? You're just walking about and shit blows off it.
There's a tree called the London plane.
Okay.
And it's got these ball seeds. I think it might be that. It's this incredibly tough tree, so it can live in like pollution.
Right.
So a lot of avenues and trees are these London plains.
No, this is like getting pepper sprayed, and it's where was I walking?
It has this they have this a seed that's covered in like almost dandelion fluff.
I think that's it.
And I think it can come off,
Jesus Christ.
and it would itch, maybe be itchy in your eyes. Well, that's weird. There's a London plane in Duddock Park.
Right.
There's one in Duddock.
If that shit touches you, man, we watched it, and we watched it blowing off, and I've got it on my arms and that, and you're like, fucking hell, it's in your eyes, and that's terrible.
Yeah, like an allergic reaction.
It's really bad. But it hit this beer garden, and everyone just started running. It's terrible. People from London, tell me what that is.
It's like that film, The Happening.
Yes.
When the plants start attacking people.
That's a film.
The stuff called the itchy coo.
Yes.
So what people don't know, it's rose hips. And if you take rose hips and inside them there's this kind of like seeds, this white stuff. If you collect that and dry it, kids used to put it down the backs of people's necks, and it was an itching powder back in the day. Oh, people are monstrous, weren't
they?
They're
monstrous little bastards.
It's that stuff. I tell you, it's terrible. That fiberglass insulation wool in attics.
Oh, Jesus, that's dangerous. I'll kill you, that
if you
shit.
get that on your hands.
Oh.
I've told you before about the time where the council house we grew up in, they were insulating it with this foam.
Okay.
So they're drilling holes all over the front of your house and squirting in this.
That's right. I remember when they
machine.
Done that. Yeah.
I doubt very much it was very effective. But some kid somewhere had like taken a nozzle and stuck it to their face, and it killed them. It just enveloped their entire body because they get that riot. I believe it's a thing. The riot foam.
Yes, they spray it at people's legs.
They spray it and it
just sets them to the ground. You couldn't use that. What if you got it on like 20 people's faces? They're all dead.
Well, you couldn't use rubber bullets. They used to use that. They still do use those fucking things.
They use CS gas. And CS gas that the police use, right? Tear gas. That is against the Geneva Convention. So they don't use it in war, but they'll use it on civilians.
They'll use it in America, but it was stuff that was out of date.
When I was in the States...
Oh, fuck that.
I can't remember what time. So I'm going to say, I think it was 2005, so you could look this up, but it was in a Florida school. A policeman had used a taser on a 5-year-old that was having a temper.
Right, okay.
And this sort of kicked off a thing about how often are these tasers or sprays and that deployed on children?
Jesus.
All the fucking time. All the time.
The horror of America, the horror, is... There's nothing wrong with... you need to have business. The world runs on business.
Of course it does, yeah.
We're living in a capitalist world.
Yeah,
capitalism has a lot of benefits. The problem is capitalism in the American justice system is monstrous. So prisons need people in them. So they want criminals.
I think Biden's ended the contracts with private prisons.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing.
I think he's ending them.
Yeah,
that's it.
Good,
great. It's about time.
No, but they're taking kids and putting them in prison for nothing. And then I've watched things. It's like if you get drug addiction. Like what is this? You would say 90% of the crime in Dundee will be drug addicts causing crime. Is there any benefit in just sticking them in prison for 6 months? It makes no sense.
No benefit at all.
No benefit. You have to get this. Luckily, this country it really is difficult to get yourself sent to prison.
Yeah, it's
You and I, you and I have never
good.
been to. You and I have never been to prison.
Nope.
I've not. It's not been difficult to avoid prison, has it?
No, it's. See, like for
In
an
America,
example,
it's far
it's a
easier
lot easier,
to get.
and people to exploit that system to get people
Yeah.
in jail. But like in Scotland, you can't go to jail for a financial crime.
No,
So
you can't get the jail for shoplifting.
no, and there's things, and I said that to American friends, and they're like, "What? That's crazy. That's ridiculous." And you're like, "Well, that was put in place when people were getting sent to jail for the most ridiculous things to do with financial, and because of the lack of what a lot of people want is less regulation. But when there was less regulation, you had children working in factories, you had indentured people, generations of people attached to the hip to factories that they can't ever get away from. It was just a terrible time. And all these regulations came in, and it's like that. I don't think... We're not talking about a drug addict that's robbing someone's house. You break the law that, fuck you, go to jail. We're talking about someone who has an addiction and they're living with it. They should not go to jail for having some... well, you don't go to jail for having weed on you, but you don't go to jail... You shouldn't go to jail for some heroin in your pocket. And if you're an addict, you're not committing a crime in that sense. The only person you're hurting is yourself, you know.
In America, people, you're up in front of the judge, and you've committed a crime. You've got a drug problem.
Yeah.
You get your option. What do you do? Well, they'll put you into rehab.
Mm-hmm.
But these rehabs are these great businesses. So what they do is they'll put you to a rehab away from all your family structure. You're in a different fucking state.
Oh, it's
and
awful.
Then they get you to work. You're basically indentured labour. They're using people that are supposed to be helped.
Well, this is the prisoners, aren't they? It's
Well, there's nothing wrong with working in prison. You didn't want to just sit in your cell all fucking day.
Hold on.
But you know what I mean?
The work they're doing is they make body armour and stuff like that for the military. And if the prison suddenly disappeared, there'd be a huge black hole there of what do they do? It's an industry within itself.
In Dundee, they'll open a prison in the middle of Dundee. Nobody would want it. In America, people want prisons because they see it as it's an earner for them.
That's crazy,
I listened to a podcast about elderly care in America, and it was fucking eye-opening. It's like those big care homes, and that was the flavour. And they can be quite soulless places. Mm-hmm. So people had created these they took a big family home, kind of really substantial house, and they would turn it into a smaller unit.
Right.
And then so it was sold as this warmer, nicer kind of environment. But it's all something like the Six Club. So it's like six clients within the building,
right? Okay.
But they use Filipino staff,
right?
Because they can pay them fuck all, and they'll have one person running the whole facility on less $2 an hour.
Well, I saw
they're stealing their money. They're making them sleep in a fucking the cupboard where they have the washing
nightmare
machines.
Things like that. God, it just that worries me. I saw during the first lockdown there was a care home. I don't know where it was. It was somewhere in the States, and it just shut down, and everyone's left. And the cleaner and the cook for the building stayed looking after everyone, paying for everything out of their own money.
Yeah,
that shouldn't
That's
happen,
monstrous.
man. It's
shit like that happens all the time. But there's always some fucker, some businessman going, "Oh, too much legislation, too health and safety gone mad."
Yeah,
this is absolute fucking.
You know what it is with America, and this is just from a faraway opinion.
Yeah, we're not experts.
No, we're not experts. But what I've found with it is the exploitation of all these things happens. Right, and the deregulation, the people, they get in charge, they change the rules and stuff like that. But see, the people of America, they really, really care for their old people. They care for children. See, what their children get is nothing. In the UK, there is nothing for children. Nothing. Mm-hmm. And when you go to America, everything's set up for kids. There's, now it sounds ridiculous, but you've got Chuck E. Cheese, and we get it here, and it opens for a couple of years and shuts down again. Things don't work here, but I went to this sort of
Chuck
family
E.
event.
Cheese. I might be wrong here. Do they serve cheese?
They do. I think it's just pizza, or something. But I went to this family event, and I thought it was the local school was putting it on. It was the whole area, and there was parades and there was everything, and it's all focused around families with kids under maybe 13. Right. And everything was put on, and it's all for free. People donate to every year to get it going. There's a real sense of community and family in America that you do not get here.
Is it because, could it be that Americans aren't, they're not afraid to be a bit schmaltzy?
That's it.
Whereas
we don't
in
like
this
it,
country,
yes.
if people are schmaltzy, people are very quick to like sneer a little bit.
Yeah, we're
and
far
don't
more
get me wrong,
cynical.
I think cynicism is often a very good thing. You need to be cynical in a lot of stuff. But yeah, there's a kind of, it's like the patriotism in America is just this, it seems so strange to us.
It does. It's completely odd. It's completely alien. The patriotism.
The flag thing is just, it's a thing they do.
Yeah.
It's just, anybody that, if folk have a flag outside their house in this country, you do think.
Well, when I was there, I can't deny you have this tremendous sense of you have this sense of you're at the centre of the world and the rest of the world is around America. And I got that. Yeah. I felt it. And it's just, and you do get that. You're in a very large country. There's a lot of people. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of wealth. There's a lot of poverty. But there's a lot of middle ground where you can just survive and get on with things and actually achieve things. I suppose
it's that thing where, I suppose that's why people put up with minimum wage, because they think to themselves, no, but one day I could be the guy that's a multimillionaire.
Well, I went
Everything's
across
available.
And everything I said, it sounded like a fucking socialist at minimum, communist at worst, because I was like, well, they were saying, but you shouldn't tax billionaires. And I'm like, why? And the belief was, well, if I'm there, I don't want to pay tax. And you're like, but you're never going to be there.
The thing is, mate, that, I'm going to say it, that's incorrect. That's nonsense, isn't it? You've got to tax billionaires.
It's absolute madness.
It's madness. That's utter. Billionaires have done a very good job in PR for billionaires.
Well, they shown recently there was a big study, and Reagan's trickle down economics stance. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. People who get money, they hoard it.
Keep it.
They keep it. They don't spend it.
When you become a billionaire, your job is to maintain that money. It's tax avoidance is the main thing. They're spending millions of pounds on lawyers to save billions of pounds. It's extraordinary. There's only so much money people need. Only so much people need. I watched a thing last night, and it was about some posh place in Chelsea. And it was all in these fucking news buildings, these big houses. Yeah. And they were all digging down to create super basements with swimming pools.
Right, yeah.
So this South African guy, £12 million house, he converted into a £20 million house. And he went down in the basement, cinemas, everything. This woman had moved in next door and to a place that was a former business, and she was wanting to do the same. He was having none of it. He didn't want a super basement next to his super basement. So the two of them got caught up in this war with each other, and she painted her house like red, white and yellow stripes just to piss him off.
Right.
And they were spending hundreds of thousands of pounds on lawyers. Millions it was going to cost them in total. This endless cycle of battles with each other. God. And you think, within walking distance of that Grenfell thing happened, and everybody burnt to death.
Oh my God!
It's nonsense. Can people? The fripperies people have got.
Yeah,
it's nonsense.
It's like we're going back to America, right? I have to say, and I mean, we're talking about America, and it can sound negative sometimes, but no, I absolutely love
Arnold
the place.
Schwarzenegger. There you go.
But I love
Arnold
the place.
Schwarzenegger went to America. And America's got a lot to offer.
No, it's great. It's wonderful. And if you've never been, fucking go.
Not a Twinkie, though.
Here's the problem. Twinkies. Oh, I got one. I didn't like it. So here's the thing with it, right? We will get a version of America, just like America gets a version of Britain, and we think we're all in townhouses speaking posh with the Queen, right? It doesn't exist. Or in Scotland, we're running around.
You must have been a great disappointment.
I was a massive disappointment, but when I went across, everything that was in the news was George W. Bush. It was, war and this. And when I went across, I never met him once. When I went across, nothing, you know what I mean? It's people living their lives, and it's fucking wonderful. It's a wonderful place. It has every kind of geology. You could go out and just experience different landscapes, and the people are great. The people are fucking great.
Yeah, they're probably quite cynical about their government.
Incredibly.
So probably the Brits are more obsessed with who the president of America is than Americans generally.
Well, when I went across, I was living in essentially a poor area of Kansas City, and I would talk about things that I saw on the news about America from the UK, and they didn't have a clue that even happened. And when I was there, I felt further away.
That's not a good thing.
No, it's not. But I felt further away from the American government in Kansas than I did in the UK.
Jesus Christ!
And that was palpable. The sense was unbelievable. I was like,
that's not an accidental thing.
No, it's not. That's what I was just getting to. This is by design. We in this country kind of obsess with America, especially their politics. I mean, we're talking about documentaries we've seen on the prison system and things like that. Yeah. When's the last time you saw a documentary on the prison system in France, which is 20 miles away from the UK?
Well, the Americans think the NHS has death panels.
Yes. And
you basically go in with a disease and they just stamp you in the forehead and then take you out and shoot you.
Well, I tried to argue.
Socialism.
Yeah, I tried to argue my feelings on the NHS to anyone American, and they all said, no, that's socialism. Wouldn't have it in this country. That's wrong. I says, but you do have socialism here. It's just you don't name it that. You have the police, you have the fire service, you have things like that. That's for everyone. That's what's paid for. I said, it's just the same thing. No, that's socialism. Well, it's nothing to do with socialism. So they hear the word socialised healthcare. And I'm like, hold on, I pay for it. I pay every month in national insurance to cover this. You are paying for it. It's just that when you go in, you don't get a bill of £100,000. You don't have any bills. You don't have anything. You still pay insurance, though.
Oh, no, I know Americans, and if there's a number of, if there's two people in the house that have got a chronic problem that need medication, there's a choice, so they have to choose.
Oh, that's terrible. It's just...
They have to choose. So a lot of them, they'll make sure the kid's fine, but they'll go without. But there's my mum and dad, when they had the guest house, there's an American guy there, and he'd been in this retired army guy, and he was poo-pooing the NHS, getting on about commies and stuff. And he'd had all this microsurgery on a hand injury, but his insurance had covered it all and was fine. Right. But oh no, he loathed the notion of some poor person. He refused to pay for someone else.
Right, every single person that I spoke to said, "Are you going to tell me that a paedophile's going to get surgery?" And I went, "What are you talking about? You've got to think of yourself."
You see, that's not somebody's idea. That's something that's been fed into people's minds.
It's propaganda bullshit. That everything you do like that is socialism.
But the most effective propaganda that seems to exist is where poor people work against their own interests.
Yes.
That's a genius. That's politics.
We are our own prison warden. Yeah, absolutely. It
happens. Populism does this. It blames somebody else for your problems.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot. I didn't like to go on about. Nobody wants to listen to this for the lockdown stuff. But Christ Almighty, the NHS has done a sterling job. But then there's stuff like that track and trace. There's people getting paid $6,000 a day. It's
billions gone into it and it doesn't work.
The money's just been pished down the money. But everything in this country just gets... They've just gone on about the royal family now for about fucking 2 weeks. There's more important things.
I always feel, as soon as there's a scandal or there's something going on about the royal family, I'm looking over my shoulder going, what's really going on we're not getting told about? What's happened?
Oh, aye. They're used to that. Well, you think, you're being a bit paranoid, but no, time and time again it kind of happens.
Well, it's like on fucking
what, did they speak
Harry
about
and Meghan?
Dead chicken or something?
Yeah, something like that. Harry and Meghan, the day their interview comes out in America is the same day that the Department of Justice is looking for Prince Andrew. They're wanting them. That's. You tell me that's because it happens every single fucking time.
I
so I get so cynical.
He's never going to go across to America.
Hey, I'll tell you what though. See if you'd done it, you'd be a kick at the door. The next thing you know, there's a bag over your head. You're taken down to Prestwick where all the secret planes go out. You'd be in America.
That's the horror, and it's in this country as well. That's what pisses me off. It's access to the law, and if you have money, you have access to the law, and the more access you have to the law, you're not going to spend a day in jail.
That's right.
You're just not.
That's right.
Well, those people fighting over like a red and white house in London, they had the ability just to unleash. Imagine you had a neighbour you were going to war with, and they were a billionaire. You're absolutely fucked.
You're fucked, and
they can silence you as well. They can make it so you can't say the truth.
That's right.
They can put a fucking super injunction out.
They can
crush you.
The image of justice is a blindfold. It's the sword and it's the scales, but these scales, they're really tipped. There's a big ton of cash in one side, and that's the way it works. Yeah.
And you don't get what I didn't realise is the thing is if you get falsely accused of a crime and you have to defend yourself, you didn't get that money back.
That's it. It can
be
ruined you.
You can be found innocent, and you're innocent, but you get destroyed.
You're destroyed. That doesn't work. This doesn't make sense.
No,
it's all tilted against you, and that's a bad thing.
I'm looking out in the sun, and there's a little blackbird eating some peanuts.
Oh, thank God you said that, because we've had a serious conversation this week.
Wouldn't it be nice to be a blackbird sometimes, just unconcerned with the comings and go? If you go out into the garden and lift up a half brick, there'll be some wood lice under there.
Oh, they're not.
They're not. Are they happier than you and me?
Oh, definitely.
Having their wee wood lice babies.
Definitely.
I don't know.
Oh man, I think.
Really don't.
Oh, I don't. I'm trying to be positive.
I know. We are upbeat kind of people.
We are. I think you know what it is. In the last week, there's just been so much shit, and
I think I'm finding. I must say, I'm tiring of this lockdown.
I think that's it. I think it's wearing on us all.
And I am concerned because I'm speaking to a few of my pals, and they are genuinely a little bit nervous about getting back into things, and they're a bit nervous about interacting with people again.
Yeah, it's there.
Isn't it? It's definitely
I feel it
there.
myself. Yeah, I feel it myself.
When was the last time? Imagine, when was the last time you sat at a table with, say, 6 people having a drink and a blether? Jesus. Well, you never do that anyway. But you know what I mean? People just aren't fucking doing it.
No, it's not going to happen.
So strange. And I don't know if people seem to think everybody's just going to spring back into it again.
I think this is why you'll notice with self-employed furloughs went on to October now. They've put it on.
Right.
Because I think they said by next April, last year they were saying next April things will open and that we'll get going. Now things are going beautifully with the vaccines and that, but you've got events and that take a year to get going. It's going to be next year before things get going. And I've got to survive the next year with selling bloody 2-3 items a week at the moment. That's
my good friend Ross.
Yes.
The collector. He's had his vaccine.
Oh, that's good.
He's 44.
Wait a minute. I'm merely months older than that. Where's mine?
I know.
I think
he's went private.
Don't think you can do that.
I think he sometimes listens to this.
Do you think he's put a grey wig on?
I think you will be able to pay for a vaccine.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can. No, I don't think that's legal.
I bet you can.
Oh, there'll be somewhere. Of course there is, but
there'll be something. There'll be some way of doing it. I cannot fucking wait for the vaccine.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good day.
I've shaved my body completely.
It's not necessary, but
you can stick me with a needle anywhere.
In the eye.
In the eye. I'm going to have my boxer shorts backwards, so both cheeks are exposed.
Oh, God.
I'm led to believe they actually have. You know, if you ever see, like, Blair Drummond Safari Park,
yeah,
and they're darting a lion, they do that. Because folk are so bored injecting people all day long, they're sticking them on darts, they've got trebuchets, they're doing all kinds of crazy shit. Crossbows.
I went to the post office in Lochee through the week. Had to do delivery, and there was a couple of junkies outside, and one was going, I'm not getting that vaccine. I didn't trust what's in it. You heroin addicted twat. You don't know what's in it, you fucking maniac. I felt like just gently slapping him. Wake up.
It's the anti-vaxxers who, like, there's American anti-vaxxers who have obviously had, like, years worth of Botox in their face.
It's incredible. They don't know what's in it.
You're like, what the fucking hell are you going on about?
I want my Microsoft chip in my arm. I might get better connection down at the unit with the Wi-Fi.
Can you imagine? It's coming round the bend. I'd like if you had a microchip. Yeah. So when you went into the kitchen, the kettle came on.
Oh, wouldn't that be good? Listen, people going about, oh no, transhumanism, stuff like that. My mother has 2 titanium knees. And if it wasn't for that, she would have been in a wheelchair. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah. The joint technology, the artificial hips and that is phenomenal.
It's
phenomenal.
And when I was at that...
Those are genuinely... Folk are cripples.
Yeah.
And then they get their joints done and they're up and going like
hours,
the day.
That day. I have watched, right, when Mum was in getting her knee done, there was women coming in wheelchairs. I'd come back the next day and they're going, come on, Beryl, up you get. And they're walking and they've been in wheelchairs for years. Wow. And that day, and they're like 85, 87. And they're walking.
That is just clearly good value for money.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying bullshit. There will be things where there'll be ethical discussions, but there always are. There always are ethical discussions, and we need that. But we have to move forward as a species, and that's what that'll be. And we're doing it. We've been doing it for years.
It's got to be some kind of cybernetic organism that's going to go to Mars.
Do you think so?
They'll have chips in.
Oh, that'd be good. Well, I think it'd be great. And my mother is technically a cyborg, so that's great.
And you do often dress like Sarah Connor.
All the time.
This thing your mum to chase you about this. She comes charging through the wall in your living room. You're like, fucking hell.
Walk. When it came to the end of her knee going, she couldn't walk, and the pain was unbelievable.
That poor woman was active. That's been looking after you. She's just worn herself out.
Worn her knees away. Then, within a few weeks of her, it's quite a recovery. So if anyone's going in for a knee, do as you're told and exercise after it, and you will recover it. Now, it's a tough operation.
It's quite an operation.
It's a tough one.
It's not for the squeamish.
See, a few months later, she's out walking, and then she's away on the bus with her friends around Scotland and going on walks all over the place. And this was from someone who couldn't even stand without help. It's amazing.
Our days of battling with Magneto came to an end, though. And he was able to get the better of her. The
greatest thing that she likes to show people, and if there's kids about, I've got, the wee cable finder, a wee stud finder and that, and it finds metal in the wall. She'll use it and show off her knees. She loves that. She goes, bring that thing up.
Oh, it's the one. I can watch operations like that on the telly. The only one I don't like if there's anything with eyeballs.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Came when they're fucking about with folks' eyeballs.
Oh God, I like all the operations. I like watching them. It's good.
A mate of mine, he became blind in one eye after we had a night out together.
Oh
he
God!
Detached a retina.
What did you do to him?
No, it was the bad old days. Mm-hmm. And the doctor said to him that your injury is very similar to that we see in bungee jumps.
God, yeah.
Because bungee jumps can blind you.
That's
I'll
right.
never go on a bungee jump.
That's
Get to fuck, particularly because it's always some Australian with like bleached hair that's running the thing. And I've nothing against Australians, but I'm not putting my life in their hands. I'm just not.
Yeah, I've never fancied a bungee jump.
No, neither have I.
No, I never fancied that.
He did an operation where that actually reattach his retina using it was super glue essentially, but they empty your eye of fluid.
Oh my God!
And then they put gas in. I think they need to have the eyeball at slightly different pressure or something.
Yeah.
This comes as a surprise. I'm no surgeon, but he could see when they put the fluid back into his eye, his vision recovered, but there was like a tide line as it refilled.
Oh my God, that's crazy!
Isn't that fucking freaky as fuck?
It's just like you always say, we're just meat bags. We
I
really
remember
are.
my dad. He thought about getting, because he's a vainer man than me. And
Right.
he was thinking about getting contact lenses to show off his profile better. Get the specs out of the way. And they put this stuff in his eyes, and it's the stuff they used to put to see all the veins, and it's the stuff they used to put in Christopher Lee's eyes when he was Dracula.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it makes you.
Oh my God.
I think he came home and just chased us about the house or something. Dangerous man, my father. Have you ever had because your eyes are pretty good.
No,
But I
they're
tried
not
contact.
now.
No,
No, I'm wearing my glasses right now. They're reading glasses.
The deteriorate. Oh, okay.
But
The
anything.
deteriorating. I thought about contact lenses, but they're the most infuriating thing.
Yeah, my eyesight literally went overnight, and it was just a couple of years ago, and I was at work, and I was just reading something, and I went, I can't read that. And then the next day it got a little bit worse, and then it ended up,
sure.
I borrowed my partner's reading glasses, and she went, try them, and I went, I don't need glasses, put them on. Not only could I read it, everything was like in HD, and I realised that it had been a bit soft for a while, but I never noticed. But when it did go, it happened fast. But anything...
A pal of my mum's, she had contacts, and she just used to kind of flick them out her eye into her palm, spit on them, and give them a wee dict, and then put them back in her eye.
Oh my God. My mate got contacts. He had his glasses, and he got a better job. He went, I'm going to get some good contacts and get them sent to the house every month, this sort of thing.
They're disposables.
Yeah, and I went, brilliant, man, brilliant. And I went down to him, and it looked like he'd been crying for about 3 weeks. His eyes were, and he's looking at me, and you could see him trying to hold the screaming in. He's going, do you like, I've got my contacts in. And I went, have you? I didn't notice. Oh, yeah, do you want a cup of tea? So later that night, he just burst out and went, I can't take it. And he just ripped them out, and then that was it. Was all over. Specs on again.
Yeah, I had them for a wee while, the disposable one. I couldn't bear them, though. I could always feel them in my eye.
Right, okay.
All the time. Whereas they've got a fucking big pair of specs in my face, and I just don't feel them.
You don't feel them.
Yeah. Not aware of it. But I quite like specs. The more my face is covered, the better.
Okay, I think it gives you that's your look now. I think
people say to you, could you wear some kind of balaclava?
See, you're a bit of a public figure now. Because I hate to say it, but I thought I was the only sex symbol within the podcast world, but you are. I wouldn't say sex symbol yet. I'll take you a little while longer, but you're definitely on the ladder.
I'm a sex symbol, but I'm not saying it's in a positive way.
No, it's
it's like you get that sign that says. I could
say something there, but
you get that sign on science cupboards that says corrosive material.
You're the equivalent of the sex symbol.
Yeah, mate. You'd be surprised because there's people on TV. There's that big gormless cunt that does that quiz show, Pointless.
Yes, okay.
Can him, it looks like Herman Munster.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of sexy mail. The ladies love him.
Oh, the ladies love me too. They've just, you know what? They're too shy to approach me or send me any texts or anything or
they
DMs.
Don't say. They've
never contacted me.
The physically blanch.
That's
and
it.
They get a bit green at the gills.
But that's just because I'm so intense.
That's what it's called. Yeah, there is an intensity.
I'm so much of a man. I'm so intense. My doctor wanted me to go to the sleep clinic because there is such a thing. Because I only have 4 hours a night, and I went, "That's not right. You're killing yourself." Actually, I've only slept 3 hours last night, and I'm feeling good today.
Hours?
Yeah, 3 hours. Yeah, I'm feeling great.
You're like Margaret Thatcher. She used to she just had like 4 hours sleep a night.
Yeah, I've said it.
Because Dennis Thatcher was incredibly rampant.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He was just in amongst her from the minute she got her nightie on to first thing in the morning.
Fuck's sake.
He was just hanging out the back of her all the time.
That's
during
disgusting.
the Falklands. You know that famous bit where she's in the tank?
Yeah.
Dennis was in about her underneath.
That's disgusting.
They had to steam clean the inside of that Challenger tank.
I would have just blown that tank up, buried it.
Jesus.
No, honestly, I only have a few hours a night, and there's been nights where, or days when you've said to me in the podcast, you're full of energy today, and I've literally had 2 hours. Yeah.
But the thing is, mate, you're never fully awake.
No, I don't know what's going on.
So the thing is, you're actually sleeping for 3 hours, but for the rest of the day, you're half asleep.
I know I have energy, but I don't know if it's positive, focused energy.
Comes in fits and starts.
Yeah, or nervous energy. I'm never sure.
Like a hummingbird.
Exactly, or a Jack Russell hearing the doorbell.
A GWJ Russell. It's like that X-Files episode where Tony Todd was in it. And it was Vietnam, and they'd cut the people's sleep glands, so they were just awake all the time.
God, that's a great idea.
They didn't need to sleep.
Do you have
but
a sleep
they just
gland?
were driven. They're just a sleep gland, yeah. It's just in your perineum.
Oh, okay, I'll give it a go.
Just give it a poke it with a hot poker or something.
Well,
but give it a wee singe.
I've never felt that there's been some times where I've had proper insomnia, and I've had that I think 3 times in probably the last 15 years. And
my mum's not a good sleeper. She'll be up through that. My brother's had times where he's not slept. He's quite, but as you get older, you need less sleep.
That's true, but proper insomnia.
Remember when you're a teenager, you were like sleeping all the time.
All the time, yeah.
You were masturbating. Or you were sound asleep.
Yeah.
It was a 2 cents.
No, insomnia is terrible because I've been exhausted. My eyes are banging together and you finally fall asleep.
It's your mind.
And an hour later, I wake up like it's 8 in the morning. And I'm like,
Jesus.
oh no. And you, for the life of you, can't get back. And then the next day, it's a terrible sensation. It's like jet lag. It's a horrible feeling.
But have you found sometimes when you're lying, you can't get to sleep at night, your brain's gearing over, and some of your best thinking can happen there.
Well, that's one of my biggest problems. People say, just clear your mind. And then as soon as I do that, I'm thinking of 5 different things. I'm thinking of doing orders. I'm thinking of designing something. I'm thinking of working on the pod. Everything just goes. And I'm thinking.
What you're supposed to do, no. You lie in your back, you put some whale song on, and then you tense and relax. So tips of your toes, tense, relax. Your bridge of your feet, tense, relax. Your ankles, tense and relax. Work your way up the body, and by the time I generally fall asleep before I get to my scrotum.
Oh, thank goodness.
But you could.
Well, the problem is with me tensing these areas. At this very moment I'm talking to you, I've got a knee brace on my right leg. I've got an ankle brace on my left one, and I don't want anything to fall apart.
You know what you could do?
Yeah.
You know those sex people, and they get that they're entombed in rubber, then inflated.
Yes.
It's supposed to have a very woomular feel. Relaxing.
I would freak
it feels
out.
like you're being embraced. Well, no, I don't. You know the ones that they wear, it's like a big sphere on their head?
Yeah.
Have you seen those ones? No, I don't fancy that. It would make your ears pop, wouldn't it?
Just last summer, I was falling to sleep in bed, and I like to lie flat without a pillow.
Of course you do, yeah.
And the pillow, and I push it up against sort of the wall at the back of me. But the pillow gently fell down and touched my head, and I actually screamed in my sleep. I was drifting off, and it was like a proper scream.
You live your life a little bit like Midnight Express. There's something's happened to you which your mind's blocked out, but it's left something. Were you?
There's damage.
Did something happen to you at a circus or something?
A circus?
Yeah. Were you caught in some kind of clown stampede or something?
A clown
Something's
stampede
happened.
sounds likely. No, I'm perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfectly average in every way. Quite dull. I just don't sleep a lot.
No, I don't sleep a lot. Yeah,
and that's it.
I do like a bit of sleep, but I get up early. I like to get up early. I'm not one for lying in my bed in the morning.
No, I don't.
Some people they'll have their Sunday off and they'll just have a long lie.
Oh, I can't do that.
And they'll get the kind of fuckers that go to the shop in their pajamas. Those fuckers.
Now, I understand. Do you have clothes for the house?
I'll come back, put the slippers on.
Right.
Disrobe fully, and then just put my smoking jacket on.
I absolutely believe that, but I don't like pajamas. I don't like
sleeping in it.
I don't like anything like that. I like to wear what I'm wearing out around the house all the time. I'm fully clothed. If I could be, I'd be fully clothed in the bath.
You need a routine.
Yeah.
You need a pair of slippers and just some kind of outfit. It trains your mind. Downtime. It relaxes you, man.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Yeah. Just wearing your. I mean, no. You're up and about. You're on. You're on all the time. The red light's flashing throughout the day. You need to have a.
Well, something happened. Oh God, yeah. It was just last year, and my partner was saying, "Look, we need to relax you. You're too tense all the time." How do you?
But she is so fearsome.
I'm frightened.
You're frightened of her. Yeah.
But she says, "When was the last time you were relaxed?" I went, "I watched a film and I enjoyed that." And she went, "No, that's enjoying it. Relaxed." And we realised that I don't know what relaxed means. I'm not too sure.
Are you telling me She threatened you to relax.
She says, I'm sick of this fucking shit. You better be relaxed within the next hour. And I was. I
Well,
told
I'll tell
her
you
I
what I
was.
found relaxing the other day. I was sitting watching the telly and a spider ran across the room.
Right.
And it was like a fucking baby mouse.
I saw
gigantic.
that one. I saw it, yeah.
So I took it and I picked it up and I went to take a picture of it. And I thought, what am I going to do? It's a house spider. If you put them outside, it's a death sentence.
Yeah.
They can't live outside. So under my floorboards, there's a crawl space.
Okay.
So I lifted the hatch and I put the spider I had a torch and I looked about and you've never seen so many spiders. It was like fucking
brilliant.
Indiana Jones. It was fucking, no, but it's genuinely mental.
It's crazy how many are in your house.
I saw perhaps the greatest story in the Evening Telegraph I've ever seen today. So a guy in Perthshire, I think he was 84, he got a pair of slippers and they had swastikas on the soles.
Here we go.
Just a pattern.
Right.
So he went and complained about it, as old guys do. Mm-hmm. Nothing's more terrifying than a person with too much time in their hand. But anyway, so that's his little brush with fame. There's more. He's discovered, without his knowledge, someone is using his image to sell knee braces. But it's one of these online adverts, but they're describing him as Professor such and such. They've snatched up his picture, just using it.
Welcome to Scotland.
I know.
If you ever want to know what Scotland's about, there you go.
I know. Swastikas on his slippers.
Swastikas on your slippers.
And then he's selling them without his knowledge. Oh, for fuck's sake. There's a kind of man in Scotland, a retired man, kind of retired guy that will wear a blazer.
Yes, I know who you mean.
They have to be avoided at all costs. If one of them was coming towards me in the street, I would throw myself under a bus. Nothing good is going to come of contact with them.
That's fair enough.
There'll be a Hugh. They'll be called Hugh. Hugh Donaldson.
They go to the bowling club.
Yeah, they go to the bowling club. There may be a Rotarian.
Yes, Rotarian. Oh, God.
Yeah. Geez, they'll have some quite strong opinions on a number of things.
Yes.
Their wife will be long-suffering. Okay?
Oh, my God.
They'll be quite specific. They'll demand the wife irons their clothes in a very specific fashion. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think these men are global. I think you get them everywhere.
But no, that type of Scotsman, that's what ran the empire. They were the functionaries.
Oh,
that's
God.
what got everything done. That's what they were all over the place. They're just awful.
Oh, they're terrible. They're terrible.
The kind of man that works in a gentleman's outfitter.
Yes.
That kind of dudes.
There's a lot of latex at home.
I know.
Do you have a lot of latex in a cupboard?
I don't have any latex.
No, I don't.
No. My skin's quite.
Hold on. I've got a story.
My skin's neither it's neither greasy nor dry. I've got a very kind of middle of the road skin type.
I have a story, and I'm not going to say
latex.
any names. Yeah, about latex.
Susan, isn't it?
It's not Susan. I'm not going to name any names.
Right. Okay.
But this was a young lady from my past,
and
she was into all that sort of thing. So she bought herself a ball gag for her mouth. Right, she never had anything. This was her first thing. She went, "Oh, I really want that." So she bought it.
That's entry level stuff.
That's entry level. Yeah, exactly. So she put it on herself, and we're doing stuff. And
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and then she looks at me, and she's scarlet red, her face, and her face looked like the Elephant Man. It was all swollen. She was allergic to latex.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I had to take her to A&E.
Oh no!
In case her throat closed up.
You see a lot of lasses wearing these chokers back in the day.
Yeah.
With a little metal thing. They're like ball gag things, but they're blissfully unaware.
They're unaware of what it is. There's a little love heart in that. They don't realise that's to keep your mouth open. They just don't know.
Yeah, blissfully unaware.
So, ladies and gentlemen, until next time,
wash those creamy balls, those latexy balls.
Keep the latex off them. It can cause an allergic reaction, and then you have to explain it to a nurse in A&E.
They've seen everything.
They've seen
nurses in Dundee. If you went in with someone stuck up your arse,
they know.
Probably 10 people in the queue ahead of you had far bigger things up there.
Exactly.
Already.
And when they saw this girl's face, and especially around her mouth, extra swollen and marks
and I
where
bet
the
you'd
strap
been
was,
so
they
cheap.
know.
You'd been so cheap. You'll have bought it out on Summers.
I never bought
cheap.
it. I'm not putting money into that. She
Oh
bought it
no,
herself.
no, okay.
Don't do
did
it
she?
me.
Okay.
I just turned up. She went, look what I bought. I went, good for you.
Wonderful. 25,000, mate.
Oh, we're doing well. Laters.
Ta-ta.